right, you guys, welcome to my channel. It is Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. If you are brand new, welcome. Please, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure if you have not yet subscribed, you do so by clicking the subscribe button over here. And welcome back to my subscribers as well as to my members. Thank you so much for joining me for round 2 today. We have been following the ongoing Megxit. That's what we're going to call it. Megxit. That's what the media is dubbing it. Megxit. Like Brexit. Except for it's Megxit. Of Prince Harry and Meghan leaving the royal family. Now, the couple announced their departure from the family about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago, on Instagram with this post. They shared the Sussex Royal, and they said, after many months of reflection and internal discussions, we have chosen to make a transition this year and starting to carve out a progressive new role in this institution. We intend to step back as senior members of the royal family and work to become financially independent while continuing to fully support Her Majesty, the Queen. It is with your encouragement, particularly over the last few years, that we feel prepared to make this adjustment. We now plan to balance our time between the United Kingdom and North America, continuing to honor our own duty to the Queen, the Commonwealth, and our patronage. The geographic balance will enable us to raise our son, blah, 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 blah. So they were basically saying that they were going to do going half in and half out. They were going to move, they were going to split time between Canada or North America. It's suggested now that they're likely going to fall in Canada, maybe in Toronto or Vancouver. And they were going to still uphold their responsibilities but that the royal family had provided to them and honor Her Majesty, the Queen. A lot of people, when this statement was made, was like, well, how the heck are you going to do both? How can you be a private citizen with financial independence and still honor your obligations as a member of the royal family? You can't do both. So they had this whole plan made out on their website, and they explained how all of it was going to work. They said that the new working model, they're committed to continuing their charitable endeavors as well as establishing new ones. They value the ability to earn a professional income, which in the current structure they can't do. For this reason, they've made the choice to become members of the royal family with financial independence. Their Royal Highnesses feel this new approach will enable them to continue to carry out the duties for the Majesty. Sorry about that. They were stepping. Prince Harry and Duchess Sussex were living at Frogmore Cottage in Windsor. Now, they said when they left that the money that the Queen had spent had been a gift and was a part of her responsibility to maintain and upkeep and the maintenance of the property. So they had initially not intended at all to pay any of the money back, claiming it was from a grant and it was her responsibility and it was blah, 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 blah. Well, once they decided to make this leave, people were outraged. So they were like, so you made us spend, they wanted to maintain residence at this place so they'd always have a place to go back to when they were in Britain. But people are outraged. They were like, you seriously just spent all these millions of dollars on this place from taxpayer money, and now you're going to leave. So the Queen, along with Harry and the rest of the family, Meghan is not there actually. She is in Vancouver, where she's been staying since leaving the royal, since taking a hiatus several weeks ago. They all met at they had a little meeting, like a soiree, like a little closed negotiations on what this was going to mean, because the announcement by them sort of took the royal family by surprise. And this was how it all played out. So the statement from the Queen today says, following many months of conversations and more recent discussions, I am pleased that together we have found a constructive and supportive way forward for my grandson and his family. Harry, Meghan, and Archie will always be loved members of our family. I recognize the challenges they've experienced as a result of the intense scrutiny over the last 2 years and support their wish for a more independent life. I want to thank them for their dedicated work across the country, the Commonwealth, and beyond, and I'm particularly proud of how Meghan has so quickly become one of the family. It is my whole family's hope that today's arrangement allows them to start building a happy and peaceful new life. And then from Buckingham Palace, they said, The Duke and Duchess of Sussex are grateful to have Her Majesty and the royal family for their ongoing support as they embark on their next chapter of their lives. As agreed in the new arrangement, they understand that they are required to step back from royal duties, including official and military appointments. They will no longer receive public funds for royal duty, so no more public money. With the Queen's blessing, the Sussexes will continue to maintain their private patronages and associations. While they can no longer formally represent the Queen, the Sussexes have made clear that everything they do will continue to uphold the values of Her Majesty. They will not use their HRH titles as they are no longer working members of the royal family. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex shared their wish to repay sovereign grant expenditures for the refurbishment of Frogmore Cottage, which will remain their UK family home. Buckingham Palace does not comment on the details of the security arrangements. There are well-established independent processes to determine the need for public-funded security. The new model will take place in spring of 2020. So initially their plan was to do both. They were going to still, be the Sussexes, like publicly. They had their Sussex Royal website made out. They were almost like going to brand that as, what they were going to do moving forward. Well, now it seems as though something has happened in negotiations where the Queen was likely told them that they had to not use those names publicly. She did not strip the titles from them, but she did. They will not be able to use those titles publicly. So they're also going to have to pay back that grant. So they're basically going to have to pay back the $3.1 million US, 2.4 million pounds for what was done at Frogmore. And their idea that they were going to still fulfill their royal duties, well, that's out too. So basically, they're not going to be doing half in, half out. It sounds like the Queen just said, or they agreed as a unit, that they were just going to step away completely. They would still be a part of the family. Okay. So sorry for all of the issues here. So they're going to have to pay back the $3.1 million. They're not going to have the appointments anymore. They're not going to have the military appointments. They're not going to have these requirements. They will still support the Queen, but not in official capacity and not with the royal family as a senior member. So it's not exactly what they had intended when they put out that statement, which I think is maybe a way to satisfy some of the growing protest of the Queen to strip their titles and this outrage about the amount of money that was spent on this cottage out of public taxpayer funding. They're no longer going to receive any money at all, which they said they were going to give up anyway. But it's still not known if Prince Charles will still pay them privately. He does fund both William and Harry out of his own sort of purse funds, which I can't remember what it's called, the Dutch of something. There's this like pot of money that he holds as his own where he could still pay them privately, which would not be from taxpayer money. So things that are not known at this point are what the couple's tax and immigration status will be in the UK and Canada. And this is coming from the BBC. They have not been given a clear answer about whether Meghan will intend to gain British citizenship, which would entail her spending a certain amount of time in the UK, because she has not yet actually gotten her UK citizenship despite being married about a year and a half ago. And then Duncan Larcombe, a former royal editor for The Sun and an author of Prince Harry, The Insider Stories, said a scaled-down royal family has been on the cards for some time. He's not going to be able to turn off that global fame. He is still an important role. He still has an important role to play within the institution. That's probably why these discussions have dragged out for such a long time, and longer than expected. So it sounds like most of the time that the couple is going to live at this point in time will be in Canada. So I don't even know what this means. Like they're not announcing what's going to happen with the security. They're not going to receive any taxpayers' money. It seems like maybe it was a compromise of not using the name publicly to maybe satisfy the public that are outraged that want her to strip. So this way she doesn't have to strip. They just give it up. And then what happens to their business that they've sort of marketed and branded as the Sussex Royal? Does that change? Do they change that whole like, oh, how does that work? And what are these private things that they're going to start doing? You know, there's this, she has an entire PR team in the United States that she was located, and prior to getting married, she was located in Toronto while she was filming Suits, the TV show that she was on, but she's born and raised from Los Angeles. So there's been speculation on whether or not she's going to settle down in Los Angeles, well, whether they'll settle in Los Angeles or whether they're going to stay in Canada. The most recent reports I've been able to find from all these different outlets is that they're likely to settle in either Toronto or Vancouver, but not in a royal capacity. So welcome to the private sector, Meghan and Harry. Now this is a mixed bag. People from the UK seem to be either loving or hating Meghan, calling her either unfairly targeted or completely ungrateful. I think those of us in the United States that are not into royal families are like, go Meghan, get Harry out of there. But obviously this is a big change, and probably the most significant change to happen to the royal family in years, hundreds of years probably. So there is definitely a big shakeup. So Harry will still remain sixth in line to the throne, and at this point they're gonna go out, and Queen Elizabeth was like, bye guys, thanks for your titles, although they'll still hold them privately. I don't really understand it, but hey, that's the latest on Meghan and Harry. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you're from the UK, I understand your opinions are much different than mine, so don't be shy and share them away, and if I got it all wrong, that's fine too. All right, you guys, I'll be back in a little while with more. Bye.